Hey, welcome. I'm Jay. This is Cary, and we're going to talk audio performance and production. This is a lovely speech from Shakespeare. So we'll dig into a lot of that in a moment. If you'd like me to review audio of yours, there's a form in the description. We'll do one of these for you as soon as we can. If you want to jump the queue, you can do what Cary did here and join the Booth Buddies channel membership on this YouTube. It supports the channel, then you get priority access. And then there's coaching on my website if that's more your speed. Otherwise, hey, thanks for being here. So, Cary, first things first. We can see here that this audio is in stereo, meaning if I play it, those of you that have headphones will hear it coming through the left side or on camera at the left side and not the right. And in this video, in this audio file here, we can see that this right channel noted by the R and the left channel noted by the L, the R has nothing going on in it. There are two ways that you can fix this, or two reasons why this might have happened. One is as we were exporting the file, it's possible that we just didn't select mono as the channels. We selected stereo, which can result in this. The other is if we start a new audio file in whatever recording software you're using, if you don't select mono and you select stereo, it will record both channels of your audio interface. So in Adobe Audition here, if we open the audio channel mapping, you can see the file channels from my interface here, and the left channel and the right channel, but the left one also has mono selected there. And so for me, because we're doing voiceover and stuff, we only need this first input to be recording. And so it's possible that you just had both of these going on. So those are fixes for that. Super easy. And we set up a mono file here for review. So the next thing is right now your audio levels are just a little bit quiet overall. So there are a couple things you can do for that. You can either turn the gain on your interface up so that it's just a little bit louder. And we're going to do that here for the sake of listening. I'm going to normalize to -3, and then we can add a bit of compression. Right here, you can see that there's just quite a bit of dynamic range. And as you're like submitting auditions and stuff, compression can be a helpful way to smooth out things and give a more consistent listening experience over the whole audio file. I have videos walking through how to add compression, so check those out. But we'll add a little bit of that right here and bring it back up. And this would be more what I would submit for an audition. The last thing in terms of audio quality before we talk performance, and I'm loving the performance in many respects, is just a small note about your noise floor. Right now, if we isolate just this little bit here and we let that play, we can hear a fair amount of static going on, which is more likely than not just your equipment doing its thing. It's the noise generated by whatever microphone you're using, whatever interface you're using, something like that. And we can see on this meter down here that it's bouncing around -48. There are a couple of things that we can do to help that. The first would be to add a little bit of EQ. This will help a smidge, maybe not a ton, but it'll help a little bit. Again, I have videos going into more depth about how to use and set up an EQ, but just a high-pass filter in and of itself is going to help a lot. So if we apply that high-pass filter and go back to that same spot here, and let that play. Remember, it was bouncing around -48 down here on our meter. Now it's below -51. So we removed a little bit of that, not all of it, but a bit of it. And you can see this little band down here, which is just showing that low humming sound. It's also possible that that humming sound is like a HVAC or your computer fan in the background. And little things like that will just improve your audio quality overall. Audio quality, done. Let's talk performance.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars.
Okay. Love Shakespeare. Love this character as well. And the seat of Mars. The port of Mars. I love characters like that. Ian McKellen, one of my heroes. Okay. So first things first, what I am experiencing in my own listening, this is a little subjective, but a little bit coming from my Shakespeare experience, of which I have a fair amount, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask. But right now, the character, and I had a note for someone recently as well in terms of really chewing on the language. If we give everything emphasis in respect to that, if we make all the words very important, then all of a sudden things start to lose their gravity when we want them to. And so that in combination with this character, they, in my experience, are overshadowing what exactly we're saying. So there are a couple of things that we could do without knowing your Shakespeare experience, but in terms of talking about Shakespeare, one of the tools that's really helpful is paraphrasing, which is just to say the words in your own words and try to translate it pretty one-to-one. So if we listen to a little bit.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act.
Oh, for a muse of fire, maybe for an inspiration of destruction that would ascend to, that would climb to the very top of the pinnacle of, what's the word? Of invention, that would climb to the very top of imagination and storytelling and idea and something like that. And I'm just spitballing because I'm very out of shape when it comes to Shakespeare, but phrasing it in that way. And young royalty, princes to act, young royalty to engage in the thing, and monarchs to sit back, kings to just sit back and watch the destruction, and then Harry, the one little prince, to be just himself and to fly into the harbor of war and be embroiled in all of it. And all of that paraphrasing can help me just to have a better sense of what exactly I'm saying and what's important, and really to just translate it from Old English into something that's a little bit more grounded and what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Grounded and colloquial in that talking person to person.
Should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire.
That and connecting the thoughts a little bit more, because right now it's sort of a byproduct of the over enunciation of things as we keep going. It's resulting in these pauses between and in the middle of phrases or thoughts that is making it harder for me to understand exactly what's being said. So in this bit,
and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire, and
and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, sword, famine, and fire, be right there behind him. So that is a thought that's being split up into really small little chunks that, if we string it together, helps me to understand, as the listener or the audience, more so what we're actually saying. So that would be my big note: is the character I love, but we can perhaps rein the character in a little bit in favor of the things that we can say and the ideas that flow together. So moving from thought to thought. And with Shakespeare in particular, I can't remember the structure of this speech, but because it's in that iambic pentameter and it's split up line by line, I don't remember if this one is free verse or not. Anyway, we're departing from certain elements here, but yeah, I would focus on that. Anyhow, my friend, I hope that that is helpful to you and that it gives you something to work with there. Maybe we should do some Shakespeare stuff here, because Shakespeare's a really good teacher for speaking things good, particularly things that you are a little bit inaccessible to many of us. Yeah. Thank you for the suggestion. All right. Until the next one of these, be well, everybody, and I'll see you there. Toodles!